we saw a movie that people have been praising the shit out of.
That is true.
We saw a movie that I
That-
think we're going to remember for a while now.
That's true.
Okay. That's great. Hey, everybody. I'm Alexis, and I'm joined by Peter here. We're going to talk about...
We're gonna talk about Sinners.
Yeah. The latest by Ryan Coogler, who, of course, wrote and directed this movie. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so it's going to be a little bit like, hey, what are we doing here? But I think, for the most part, some pretty obvious observations. One of the things that you were telling me just now is what specifically about your reaction immediately was about Kevin Feige.
No. Well, but see, we're in the minority because a lot of people love both Black Panthers, and we tepidly feel they're okay
Yeah, that's true.
at best.
I know the first one is beloved. I don't know
Yes.
about the second one.
Second one, not as much, but I think most people think it's good. Which I actually like the second one better than the first one.
I think the second one is far better. I think it's good, the second one, but you know, it has its issues of it being a Marvel movie. I think the original reaction for us is the fact that we saw something that was pretty fucking great. I mean, just to put it out there, you know, it's not that much of a surprise considering what has been said and what we saw. But I just feel like, you know, when we were walking out of it, it's like, wow, what a complete vacuum of talent Kevin Feige seems to be, because it's just not comparable.
Yeah.
Coogler has made what 5 movies, right? 2 Black Panthers, a Creed, Fruitvale Station, and now this. And
There was another.
was there one more?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he'll look it up right now. But I just feel like you can't compare 2 of those to the other 3 because they're just not in the same league. Like not even a little bit close to it. And I just feel like we were kind of on the same wavelength, because I was walking out of it feeling like, wow, we really wasted this man's time on 2 superhero movies when we could have had more of this.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's how I felt like.
That's how I feel with most talented people. I feel that way with actors. It sucks because then it's like you see most of these movies don't turn out great. These big blockbusters, especially recently.
Yeah.
Like the only one I'm pretty excited for is Superman. As far as these big superheroes, beyond that,
that's a movie that I think we've been amped for a while, and I feel, and this may also be where we're in the minority.
this is the review for Superman.
This basically is, but I also do feel like another way we can be considered minority is in terms of like, well, we actually think Superman is running a pretty terrific marketing campaign, and yet plenty of people are finding ways to like poke holes and trying to spoil fun, whatever.
No, you're right. That was the only ones I said. Very cool.
It's hard to like find a place to begin here. I just thought this was kind of like a wow, just a truly special movie.
Great, but it's weird.
It is, right? Like there's spots in here where I'm like, it's different kinds of genres being mashed together, which I think in part is the point, you know?
See, that's the thing. It's weird to me that I don't think it's that weird. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just a movie.
Yeah.
I just don't think people are used to like, just like a movie, you know?
Mm-hmm. It felt for a long time there like a really good like drama. Then it turned, and then by the time we get to the midway point, I was like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be kind of a horror movie. And then do I want it to be that? And then when it happens, I'm like, no. Actually, great that it is this, you know?
Like the easiest comparison to me is, and I don't know, you probably haven't seen this movie. It is From Dusk Till Dawn.
I've heard of this one, yeah.
A la like John Carpenter.
Mm.
I think it's very, very John Carpenter in a lot of, as far as like tone and like the way it takes its time with the like just building regular people,
Yeah.
and then like weird shit, you know.
Yeah, basically.
It just kind of hits them. Right? They literally even have the like blood testing scene in this movie where they each of them eats a garlic.
From The Thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
from The Thing. Yeah, it's one of those. And then I know you've never seen what do you call it? From Dusk Till Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
That was a Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez joint. Tarantino wrote the script. Robert Rodriguez directed it, and I'll spoil it for you now because who gives a shit.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll
but
forget it.
it's
So.
yeah, it's literally one movie the entire time. It's a couple of oh man, I'm just realizing the similarities. It's a couple of brothers, outlaws, thieves, murderers that they have a job that they have to do. They have to get down to Mexico because a deal's going to go down in Mexico, and they need to get across the border safely. And you start it with two of them. They're just these two thieves, but they meet a family. One of the families is a preacher who has lost his faith in God since his wife died, and he has his two children. And these two kidnap them, and they're making their way. And it's this like crime sort of drama for most of the movie until they get to Mexico, and then they're like the deal's supposed to go down in this strip club called the Titty Twister, and
Good name.
it just so happens that it's like this biker bar strip club, and it just so happens that that is run by a bunch of vampires. And then so like halfway, it's one, and vampires are never seen, never mentioned, nothing in the movie. Like you would have no idea it's about vampires until literally like halfway through, and then just a vampire just randomly attacks someone, and then it becomes a completely different movie.
I can see some similarities to what you're.
Oh
what
yeah,
this
for sure.
was
Because
yeah.
it's about surviving the night too, and getting that. That one is way more B movie though, especially once it hits the vampire.
Right.
One of the bikers has a pistol on their crotch that looks like a penis.
Okay.
It's like, and it shoots bullet. It's we're gonna see it eventually. But no, right? Like people are like, "Oh my god, it's revolution." I don't think it's revolutionary, right? It's you could there's so many influences
Yeah.
I immediately pulled from. It's just so well executed.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? And it's been a while since you see like a big sort of film like this.
Yeah.
Original, right? It's not Blade. It's not tied to any previous. What do you call it?
Would have been cool to have Snipes in this movie though.
It would
Have
have
a
been
cameo or something,
yeah.
you know.
That would have been way cool. But it's just someone just like had an idea for a cool ass movie, and then they made a cool ass movie.
It's been a long time since I felt like I don't know, especially because like when you're online and you see the timeline, everyone it's a universally loved film for the most part.
Oh yeah.
When we get movies like this and Dune 2 from last year, which were so like across the board universally loved, it reminds me of the old days when we would do something like this very regularly, when it was very positive to talk about movies, right? I admire this movie a lot, and I love this movie a lot. There's so much to love here. Everything as far as the execution, that is the main appeal, right? But like, one thing that maybe is not so much on the initial part of like the takeaways, because people are going to focus on like on the horror stuff and you know the writing per se. I just love that this film is like maybe not necessarily trying to do this, but this may be an aside to what we've been talking about, but like it's spitting in the face of like this, you know, this age that we're living in terms of like people not either appreciating romance in films enough, but then especially when it comes to horniness.
Oh, yeah, it's a horny.
It's a horny movie, and you see like a lot of allusions to like you know, there's sex happening, and you know, we're living in these couple of years where people have had like we don't want that in our movie. Don't show that in our face, you know?
I think there's two reasons to why that happened. One, before, people only got that kind of stuff from movies because the internet didn't exist and porn didn't exist. And so that's readily available all the time. So I don't think people feel the need or want as much to see this in movies. But also, and this is like the far worse reason, movies became like, what do you call it? Everything started becoming invested in like blockbusters, right?
Or
And
the M word, Marvel. Marvel pretty much
Marvel
just took
for
over the
sure,
space.
right? But it's all movies,
Yeah.
all big movies, and they're consistently trying to go like, oh, we're trying to hit that four quadrant, right? We're trying to. It's less movies marketed to the most people as humanly possible, right? So what happens is everything has to be very, very sanitized to be able to market it to as many people as possible. Whereas before, it's it was just a lot of different kind of movies that could reach their own specific audience and maybe one massive blockbuster or a couple a year. Now, movie studios are trying to do basically just blockbusters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, you're trying to hit four quadrant, trying to hit everyone, market to everyone, so everything's going to be more sanitized, and you don't want to offend anyone over here. And you see jokes about it all the time where they have like people in suits be like, "Oh no, we need to remove this because of marketing says that it pulls not well with like 12% of men," right? And that's the way scripts are written sometimes now.
Yes, and a lot of the influences of modern day blockbuster filmmaking come from the success of Marvel, and they're kind of trying to copy how they would make Marvel movies. We already know that.
Yeah.
Do you think that when Disney purchased Marvel from, because usually Marvel Studios was its own thing and they would work with Paramount, but when they crossed over and Disney owned them officially, do you think there was like some executive notes that were passed along to them, like, hey, let's not have as much of that?
Oh,
Not
of
that the
course.
first couple of movies didn't have like full blown rated R stuff, but hey, Iron Man 1, you always say it begins with Iron Man waking up from a one night
Yeah.
stand, and then all of a sudden that just kind of disappeared.
Well, I speaking of that, because I had read a recent article talking. They were talking about the new Fantastic Four, which I am
We'll see.
somewhat excited
We'll
about. We'll
see,
see.
right?
We'll see. We'll see. Um, but Johnny Storm is a womanizer. Like that's literally his whole thing.
They're changing that, aren't
Um, they said something like, "Oh, he's not. We don't focus on that so much,"
they? You
and
see?
it's like I think it has less to do with anything other than not wanting to offend anyone. Again, keep that four quadrant, being able to market to everybody, and it's. Whereas in Iron Man 1, that's one of the first things they show off about his character. Is what a womanizer is, which is weird because if you look at Marvel, especially, I like. Let's see how they do the X-Men. The X-Men are very
Yeah. I
um,
mean, Wolverine.
horny,
Yeah.
countercultural, that stuff. And I mean, I guess they have Deadpool where he can do dick jokes and stuff like that. But yeah, no, this. But that's why I say this. It doesn't feel. There are scenes in here where I'm like, oh, this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like I haven't 100% seen this before, and it's incredible. But for the most part, a lot of the things where I'm like, it just feels like a movie, right? Like this feels like something that I could see come out in like 1992 or something,
Right.
like when because you talk about, oh, it's a horny film, but it's like look at
By
every
our standards.
by
But
art,
yeah,
yeah,
that's what
look
I
at
mean.
any
Yeah.
movie made. A lot of people don't watch movies like before the year they were born, which is
Yeah.
not good. You should watch. Everyone should watch
Too
more
busy
movies.
watching Chicken Jockey. Not watching. Being Chicken Jockey.
Being
Yeah.
yelling at the screen, chicken
Yeah.
jockey. Um, but no, it's I don't know. This movie's
And then
awesome.
one of the initial feelings
Mhm.
I when the credits were rolling, and then especially after like the actual ending of the movie, is lately it's just been like really depressing talking about stuff on Red Spotlight, right? Because of all the movie news, and in my mind,
Well,
but this was very.
yeah, yeah.
This gave me hope. I gotta tell you, this
No,
gave
it's
me like just like
awesome.
it gave me hope that what, even in the age of like Chicken Jockey and how awful that ended up being for like what it portends for movies going forward. It's like, hey, this was genuinely like not just wholesome. Maybe that's not the wholesome in terms of like how the artist got to create what he wanted to do. He crafted something so beautifully, and it ended up like speaking to so many things, and it ended up working really, really well. But it's this weird cross where it's like this is very much an artistic film, and yet somehow it's appealing to every audience. Like
Yeah.
the how this film is reaching people. Like, it's the first horror film. It is a horror film, but it's the first horror film to get an A cinema score in how many years? Ever? Like, that was pretty
I
big.
feel like it probably got an 87. People went crazy for it.
Yes.
Part 1.
Yeah, part 1. Part 2 nobody remembers because it wasn't very good.
It
It was pretty bad, actually.
was 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, it was bad. But this one is like great performances. Michael B. Jordan continues to top himself. I feel like he can do no wrong in any movie he's in. So he's always a good tried and true at this
he's
point.
great.
Delroy Lindo, anytime you can bring that guy along, he's great.
I don't know if I ever knew he was in the movie, but when I saw him, I got all excited.
Yeah, for
he's
sure.
Great.
He's always.
He does, yeah.
And then we have a brand new star. The main character.
Oh, the main.
Yeah. He's his first film role. So crushing it.
I will say, I assume that's his real voice.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Why?
It kind of feels like he's putting on like a movie voice a little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant voice as a singing voice.
No, yeah, no,
of
course the singing voice.
Okay.
No, I'm talking more like his.
Well, I mean, all actors put on a movie, but I think you can tell like he's like trying to be in a movie. I think
he's doing something very particular, and it's like.
Speaking of,
I can get it.
what makes this movie so special is because it has like splashes of everything. Like, it's kind of low-key a musical. Like, the music in here is sensational. Like, I can tell you right now, like, because Ludwig is also, again, when they like you, they like you. Ludwig right now is probably going to win again for a score, and he's already won like 2 times. So
we'll see. Sometimes they do some dumb shit with the best score.
But I mean, it was like a cross between. I heard like there's a whole bunch of like musical influences, right? But the main score, like, I heard like flashes of Killers of the Flower Moon, and then also even the John Williams score that he did for Sugarland Express. I don't remember that one. But you can hear a little, maybe because of the harmonica that was in the score. But I loved it very much so. And of course, I mean, everyone's talking about that oneer.
Yeah. In
the middle, where it's like all of this, like all the
no spoiler.
eras. Oh, it's a big musical influence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big piece. What'd you make of Jack O'Connell
as
the antagonist?
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very Irish.
Very, very much so. And that also played a big part in the movie too. Mm-hmm. Like, even that is like, what I love is that the music is all kinds of musical influences coming together.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because they had other characters too, different ethnic backgrounds.
Yeah, different kinds of music
they kind
too.
of touched on. And
you think about blues, I guess, a little like bluegrass country, and then also whatever you would consider Irish music to be. That's a
Irish.
Well, there was a couple of Irish songs that they played.
No, but you're saying like whatever you call it.
I don't know what that. I guess would it be called that?
Irish music?
I don't know. Folk music.
Folk. I
don't know. It's not quite there yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, visually, from the first frame, I was fantastic. Like,
it's a beautiful looking, and it's again,
right?
I don't want to be negative.
But we had the same thoughts. It's like when the first frame, it's like, oh, you can easily make a movie look this great.
A movie,
yeah.
Right? And then you look at, especially that first Black Panther, and it's like, oh, this movie looks like dog shit. Like, other than like the costumes,
which that's another carryover. It's like we mentioned Ludwig Göransson, who is a freaking collaborator. I think Ludwig has scored all of Coogler's movies.
He scored Creed?
Yes,
I think all.
Yeah. I think Creed, and then also Black Panther, and then now this. Ruth E. Carter, the costume designer. She's done all the movies.
Oh, so she's done this.
I want to say maybe not all of them, but she did the costumes for both Black Panthers and now this one. The costumes were really good.
Oh yeah,
they really stood out.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's obviously less flashy than something like Black Panther. But everything.
That's the Academy Award that both Black Panthers won for costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, you feel that time period. It's really, really great the way they pull it together. I just really love the way the movie takes its time.
Yeah,
these are
characters. You get to live. It's like I thought of that.
You
quote.
Live in this world.
Remember when this year we're gonna get another Avatar movie, but 2 years ago, or almost a year and a half ago, when The Way of Water came out, there was this and during the press tour, a clip that we talk about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
James Cameron was talking about how people forget to put beauty in the movies and how like he spent so much of the Way of Water just like hanging out and living in this space. And that's what I love how basically half of what this movie does. Like it was
Yeah.
in no rush to get to all of the you know where we're gonna go. If you know what kind of loosely what the movie is gonna be like if you watch the trailers. But I will say I do think those trailers like could not really capture how good this would be.
Yeah. Every time we never talked about the trailer that much
No.
because I saw it and I was like, this is good. It looks good. I'll definitely watch it. I my where I came from is always like I love Ryan Coogler. This looks right up my alley.
Yeah.
As far as the kind of movies I love. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. Um, but again, that's also coming off of maybe I would have written the hype train a little more if you didn't just come off of the two previous Black Panthers where I was just more meh,
That's the thing.
more
Yeah.
meh on.
Yeah.
But no, this seals the deal for be like, right? He's gonna do a third one.
Mm-hmm. It's like when you consider Coogler's peers, you know, other directors in this space that are of his generation. Think of like Greta Gerwig and also Jordan Peele, right? Like they've been making movies for the most part that I think
Especially Jordan Peele.
like they're
I
like
love no.
they've already established themselves, but they've not like taken a break to do the Marvel detour. Where Coogler, I mean, how many years? I mean, from 2018. Well, technically speaking, since 2015, it's been 10 years since Creed.
Yeah. Again, to be fair though, we're in the minority as far as feeling like
Well, yeah,
they're dips.
sure, but I mean, I just feel like from a technical and a crafted standpoint, there's not much to argue as far as like something being up to snuff or not. But like,
No, yeah, because it just this from the second it starts like, oh, this is a movie.
yeah.
Like it looks beautiful. It's shot.
Now,
beautiful.
speaking of, it's interesting. And I feel like this is appropriate to discuss, and it's not giving away anything, but it's like there was a bit of a Marvel influence there because he utilized post-credit scenes, mid-credit scenes, and post-credit scenes.
Yeah,
which is interesting. And it's not teasing anything. To be clear about that.
No, it does. It's all just story stuff.
Yeah,
story and character stuff. To be fair, Marvel didn't invent that. Movies have been doing that forever. But it's cool. It's well done. Yeah, I would argue that the mid-credit scene is like
the ending,
the real ending.
Yeah,
it's not like.
And I think some people missed that. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, they kind of missed the real ending because to me that was like the actual ending. I would almost argue he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
because the credits started playing for a bit, and it's like, first of all, the ending is like a little abrupt. I was like, oh, okay, it's over. But it's like, no, it's not. Like, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that just because I think there's some people who will not see the actual ending because of that. So if you haven't seen it yet, yeah, at least see the mid credit scene because that's the real ending.
You want to talk about the what makes it also interesting is like this is a film, and in part of how well it's being received and how it's got the A Cinema score. We're also living in this perceived time where it is films, especially films that have such wide appeal, in the space in which people talk about movies, are getting flack, not from everybody, but from some people about including social commentary and how that's going to turn off certain kind of
it's just
audiences.
It's a movie. I've never I've said this before. It's just movies are art. If you take them as an art form, all art form has a point of view. All point of views are inherently political. Saying you don't like politics in film is like saying, I don't know, you don't like milk in your cereal. You could use orange juice, I guess, but then I don't know. It's always a stupid argument. But no, yeah, this is undoubtedly a Ryan Coogler film, and Ryan Coogler has always very much infused himself.
Spike Lee loved this movie a lot. I think I saw a reaction.
Oh,
yeah. And there's some things in here that Spike would do in most of his movies, but I think it's a little bit more of it's all, I think, more tightly put together in a way that's not so like I guess overt with it. I mean, it is overt, but it's
Yeah.
like I thought the endings, all of them, were pretty amazing, and it kind of ranged the spectrum for what it makes me feel like. I was so touched by the conclusion of like one character and a reunion, right? The ending was just like, wow, I did not see that coming at all. That got me, and it actually was like really good.
Yeah.
Um, there is a sequence that happens for the very end. Um, that reminded me a lot of the catharsis you and I felt like 5 years ago, when we watched The Invisible Man. And if you recall,
Oh,
the
okay.
ending of The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss, how you and I were like, oh, that felt so good
Yeah.
to see that happen. And it was like, saying where we're living in right now and what's happening, it's like,
No, there's a lot of great moments. All the actors and actresses are great.
some funny moments in there too. So like you can't forget to
Yeah.
sprinkle those in there. Mostly with Delroy Lindo. He's really good for that.
Again, he's one of those actors. He just makes everything he's in 5 times better.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So far it's like it's interesting. I'm curious to see if this is going to be a Dune Part Two, or if it's going to like be in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Because we're
what does that
early
mean?
in terms of like, can the love and adoration of the film that we just watched be sustained throughout the entire calendar year, to where it's actually going to be remembered when it's time to vote for awards?
I mean,
Basically,
it's so hard to predict that kind of stuff because, especially, a lot of it's on. I honestly think it's predicated on everything else that comes out.
yeah.
Um, because like I told you, that's exactly what happened to Honora. Honora was very clearly the front runner, and then this movie that no one knew about or gave a shit about, called Amelia Perez, came out. And for whatever reason, again, I could not have predicted that people. Well, I think people didn't love it. Just the Academy loved it. Just people within Hollywood loved it. I never would have guessed.
The Europeans loved it too.
Oh, sure, yeah, those guys. For whatever reason, a very particular set of people really liked it. It shot up to the front place, and then it very quickly crashed and burned. In which case, Nora was back to the top spot. So there's a lot of things that can happen that you don't know, and I think it has everything to do with other films and whether they come in swinging, where people just champion them for whatever reason. Because sometimes there's not even a good reason why they're really championed as hard as they are. Like the reason why Queen's biopic got championed so hard versus every other musical biopic, which is better. I don't know. It's just one of those things. But I definitely think it'll. Well, let's see what other movies are, because they always have at least one blockbuster-ish movie that they include.
Avatar.
Oh, is Avatar this year?
Fire and Ash.
They do love to see. That's the thing. They do love to celebrate Avatar because it's Jimmy Cameron.
Yeah.
And
that's it. That's it. We can tell you. If there's one, it'll be that one. I doubt they'll go for Superman because they don't like James Gunn.
No, it's not. It's definitely not going to be Superman. Yeah, James Gunn has.
Even if it's great, it's not gonna happen. They don't like him. So
yeah, no. But if it's any of them, it's gonna be this film, Sinners, and of course.
Would you categorize this? Well, yes, I guess if it's gonna as widely seen and widely liked, it can be a blockbuster. But can you pin this down to one genre?
Sorry, it's midnight.
No, it's not.
Pin it down to a singular genre? Not necessarily. But I mean, genres. The existence of genres are more like for selling and categorization.
The definition of putting you in a box.
Yeah, movies don't have to fit into a certain genre. Movies exist as they are. Mm-hmm. We then try and sort them into genres.
Yeah,
we create genres to better sort them. But a movie doesn't have to perfectly fit.
Like
Drama,
RRR is one of those.
definitely blockbuster.
But it also has other influences of other genres.
Oh yeah, of
That's what I
course.
mean.
Drama slash horror is the closest I
Yeah.
would say for this one. Period, but you can also say like period piece. You could say romance.
We'll probably talk about this more when we get a chance to do a review on the show for the podcast. But like, it's also interesting how Warner Brothers. First of all, I think it's funny how Zaslav probably has no freaking clue about what makes a good movie, and he keeps. I can only
No, he
imagine him in
doesn't.
his office being like, "What? People like that?"
Yeah, no, he very clear. That's the thing. God bless
Because I mean, this is
America.
the guy that was just like, "Oh, we have to save the Flash because it's the best movie ever made."
I have no idea. Oh my god, that movie sucked. Um,
It really did.
no, he very clearly has no idea what makes a good movie. I don't think. I think he's very bad at its job, which is of course why he gets bigger and bigger bonuses every year. That's the way of the world. And then yeah, the fact that this movie was successful. Well, we're still seeing, right? We don't know. It's so far. It seems like it's gonna be, but how successful? We don't know. I don't even know what the budget was.
Me neither. Well, I guess we'll
Yeah.
look into it. But
Those are things that, yeah,
the
I
other
don't
big
know.
deal is like he is going to get ownership of the movie eventually, which is a different new deal for him.
That's a George Lucas esque deal,
And
basically.
I thought was kind of interesting is like how it's only been a week, and in the trades, there's already this story that was published. It was like some executives are like, "Oh no, this could be the end of the studio system."
I
It's
think
like,
literally everything else that's happening in the world could be the end of the studio system. This I don't not so much.
as usual, people in power are worried about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this I'm trying to think. How many years was it? 25?
Yeah. After 25 years, so I guess in 2015, the rights to this movie
Uh-huh.
will revert back to the Coogler estate, and they will own complete ownership of this movie. Warner Brothers will have nothing to do with
That's pretty cool.
it. It is
That's pretty cool.
because I mean,
I'm surprised he
does
penned that
Disney
deal.
own the rights to the theatrical version of Star Wars?
I assume that they don't. I think I've read somewhere, I don't know how accurate it is,
They
that
own the special edition, but they don't own the
that's
original cut.
basically the way it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is that's big.
And I wonder if that means George could like, you know, I don't know what that means as far as
I think we would have a clearer sense if he considered the theatrical version canon.
or he wanted anyone to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like he would
I
be
did
willing.
hear this UK festival is going to screen it this summer for the first time, so that's interesting. They say the original theatrical version of it, which would be interesting. Um, but yeah, this is going to be a film we're going to be living with, and it's already like it's one that's just so filled with many images and sounds that I'm not going to forget. And I think that makes for a great theatrical experience. I think we have an early frontrunner of a movie, and we'll see what comes out next that'll come close to it. And then also, I feel like we've kind of been being fed pretty good when it comes to vampire movies lately. You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
make a double feature with this and Nosferatu.
Horn of Vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And then if it gets made, there's a Chloe Zhao Dracula movie coming supposedly. So
There's like 2 or 3
yeah,
other Dracula.
it's like Del Toro Frankenstein movie that's
Frankenstein.
coming out this
That's
year.
definitely coming out.
Yeah.
There was another one too. There was another Frankenstein movie. I think it was like a Bride of Frankenstein movie being made.
Guadagnino?
What a
Was he doing a horror movie?
no.
Somebody was making a Bride of Frankenstein, but I forget which one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can't remember.
Very interesting. Anyway, I think we're gonna cut it off here. We had a great time, and we encourage anyone to go out and watch this movie. Just of course realize this is a rated R film, and so plan accordingly for whatever your parties may entail. But there is plenty of horniness featured in there, sex. You know, you don't see parts per se, but there is action. So, and frequently, mind you, so it's not necessarily as easy as just like covering people's eyes. So just putting that out there. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this movie, how it lives with me these next couple of weeks. Because I feel like the
Yeah.
films that have stayed with me are the ones that I've loved the most. If a film is good, and I can see that it's good and has a lot of good features, but it kind of fails to stay with me a week from now, it kind of can tell me,
It
oh,
drops off.
it's good, but it's not
I
that
don't
good.
care about it.
Yeah. And that's even when it comes to good movies. That's not even referring to films that we consistently this year have forgotten we've watched, like Captain America.
I keep forgetting
I
that.
keep forgetting we've seen that movie. On YouTube, I was like, oh, they did a reaction, Real Rejects, to like Captain America. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I watched that. I'm not watching that ever again.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
No, there's no reason to. So there's that. Anyway, I'm hoping the next time we do one of these will be for Superman. That should be a fun one to do. Or maybe even Fantastic Four. Did you have a reaction to? Since that's a big movie. Maybe Thunderbolts. We're gonna watch that movie. Thunderbolts, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if we watch Captain America,
I was gonna say we saw Captain America. Thunderbolts looks better than Captain America.
Yeah, so I guess we just know where to go but up. I guess we'll find out. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.